Hello, Brett Schuhart here. I'm going to go through a series of gravity poses or maybe science of stretching poses. This is in the updated science of stretching. I started this 2.5 years ago and they had a single sequence, and now this is a set of weekly sequences. I'm also going to do some modifications on these. So the first one is cliffhanger. I'll show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to do a modified version on blocks. All right, so I've got a lot of props here. I'll be using them, but right now I'm just going to show you the standard cliffhanger, version 1. Get up to the wall. Top of the head's in the wall. Rest your hands. Reach up. And then hang. And I'll just stay here for a bit. This is one of my favorite poses. Okay, 4-8 breathing. I guess I'm going to do this. I'll do this for 3 minutes. Alexa, set a timer for 3 minutes. So hands spread wide on the wall. I get my hands a little damp and then rub them together to get them so they're a little bit sticky. That helps them from sliding. My elbows have no weight on them right now because they're pointing up. If you need to go a little bit wider than my hands, you certainly may go wider. This should be comfortable. And what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to relax into my shoulders and let my breastbone melt into the ground. Time under passive tension. Wet noodle. So my hands are stuck to the wall, more than just metaphorically. Elbows are pointing up. So I've got a nice little connection here. My body, my rib cage is touching the ground, the bottom of it. And that's forming sort of 2 points. And then gravity is allowing my thoracic spine to fall. I'm also flexing my neck forward. I can do this for a little bit. If this doesn't bother your neck, let your head hang nice and low. Let's go see how this does today. For breathing, breathe to relax. When you breathe in, you upscale your sympathetic and heartbeat nervous system. When you breathe out longer, you downscale. You upscale your parasympathetic nervous system and your heart slows down. If you make an ah sound by breathing out of your mouth, you stimulate or vibrate your throat, which stimulates your vagus nerve, which goes down your throat. Okay, Alexa, stop. Okay, now I'm going to push up, and then I can get my arm under. Ooh, okay, good. So that was 3 minutes. I normally would do that for 5 minutes, but I want to do a variation of this on the floor because sometimes I'm at places where you haven't got the best situation. I've only done this a couple times, so this is a version of cliffhanger on the floor. It's not as aggressive, but it does get some of the work done. So let's see. And we'll see if I hold this for 5 minutes. Now, the last time I did this, was I like this? I was like that. Okay, I need to do that. Let's see. All right, something like this. I'm still learning this one. So knees spread wide. I'm going to do this. Okay, I think this will work. Let's see what happens. So start here. Nope, I think I want to do this. Boy, this is awkward. Okay, well, that works. Actually, this feels like a really good version of wide dog where it's hitting me right behind between the shoulder blades. A little bit higher, actually. It's a little bit closer to the middle outside of the shoulder blades. This is maybe a bit too much the way I've got it. So let me see. How can I adjust this? Okay, that moved it. Actually, that moved it more to the breastbone. So that means I want to bring my knees closer, I think, for leverage. All right, how can I do a slow adjustment? Okay. I'm hitting my ulnar nerve on my right side. This is going to take a while to practice to figure out how to do it and describe it. As a bonus, my hip adductors, adductors, are getting a bit of a stretch. This is almost a frog pose, what I'm doing here. Okay, I'm going to come out and try something else. I don't think this is really that effective. I mean, it's good, but it's not really the same target. So that's something I might do, but I can do that more efficiently with a different form. So let's see. I think this is how it looked maybe on the ground. Okay. I'm glad I did the real hangman. I still haven't got this version figured out. This isn't, this is okay. I am getting something. And maybe if I hadn't just done hangman, I might have gotten a more effective stretch out of this. So I might have to reconsider. This is getting in the crook of my neck on both sides. So it's not exactly the same. And my armpits are getting a bit of a stretch on the outside. Under my arm's going to probably be pretty numb by the time I'm done doing this. Can I turn it this way? Does that do anything? Okay, let's see. What about this? No, that's not. So let's see. I've just done lateral rotation of both of my forearms. I'm going to move that around. I'm going to play with this since it's okay. So right now, I feel a lot of pressure on the underside of my arm. As I do this, that really engages under the arm and it feels actually quite a bit better. So that's okay, but I think this is actually, I need to adjust. I know I keep adjusting. Let's start elbow and elbow. Okay. Let's try this. Well, this is more stable. This is still more like wide dog. Okay. That was, I mean, it was something. It wasn't completely useless. The next one will make up for it. All right, now I'm going to do pretzel arms. Do pretzel arms 5 minutes. So for pretzel arms, lay on the ground. Starting in Sphinx, I'm going to take my right hand and put it in front and my left hand closer to my body. And then I'm going to reach over. I'm going to start the timer. Reach over. And then I'm going to set my chin down. Where before I was pinching my shoulder blades, now they're being stretched apart. One problem with really long breathing like this, and I'm falling asleep. timer's changed. It seems so bored for 5 minutes. Okay, that's why. Okay, ooh. Asymmetrical pose, time to do side 2. Okay, so right arm was in front, now right arm was closer to body, left arm was in front. Reach. Start the timer. And other side. So what's going on with this is a combination of things. On the one hand, we're using 4-8 breathing to tend to downrate our sympathetic nervous system and upregulate our parasympathetic nervous system. Putting ourselves in passive tension, wet noodle, which is a yin, in the hopes that as we start to get close to where our muscles might resist stretching, by calming our body down, the sarcomeres release and allow the muscle to relax and stretch. And as you do that, it tends to stay a while, weeks, months. You need to maintain, but it goes back much more slowly than you lose it, assuming you're not doing a lot of sitting or things that are asymmetrical that are causing you to, say, strengthen one side more than the other. That's why yoga is so good and Tai Chi is so good, because you tend to do things a little more symmetrically. Not entirely in Tai Chi, but you certainly move quite a bit. You're also training your executive function. Your body does not want to do what you're doing because it's lazy, or rather, no, it's energy efficient. Lazy is an unfair judgment. Your body tries to maintain homeostasis and it tries to keep doing what it's been doing. But if you do something, then that becomes what you've been doing. So if you can sit in a little discomfort for an extended period of time, you get a physiological benefit, a psychological benefit, a physical benefit, and also you might just release some issues in your tissues. This is an augmentation to whatever else you're doing.
Sometimes it's hard to breathe with your bottom of your throat pressed like that. Okay, next is wide dog. Okay, wide dog is meant to get a nice stretch right back here. So I find that if I do it on the floor, I don't get a very good stretch. Actually, I think the last time I tried it on blocks, these blocks, it might have worked. So I'll try wide dog on these blocks. All right. Don't want to go. I think I'm going to go higher. No, let's try this. Okay, here we go. 5 minutes. Okay, wide dog. So start in a down dog. Bring your feet closer, wide. And you know what? I'm just going to stop this right now because my feet are going to slide. So you're going to, I guess in some countries this is going to be an inappropriate video because I'll have my naked feet exposed, but I don't have a yoga mat. And even if I did, it'd be worse. I mean, I do have a yoga mat. I suppose I could use it. Yeah. Okay, let's try that again. That's not high enough. Okay, well, I'll try it this way. Now these bricks are sliding. Okay, I guess I'm gonna eat hump crow and I mean I know how to do this with the stool, but I'm trying something. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, that's gonna be better. I actually think I'm gonna need them like this anyway. My feet should be good. All right, let's try this. Try 3. No. Oh, no, I'm just not gonna do it this way. I'm gonna do it this way. I actually want to do the pose. All right, here we go. There we go. I mean, I can get right into it like this. Mm. So I got some time here. When I was 14, I had a heart valve that didn't grow as fast as I did that summer. And so I would just, my blood pressure would drop and I would black out. And I was walking my bike, sitting on the seat across a train bridge over the Iowa River in Iowa City, Iowa. And I started to black out. And as I started to fall, I said aloud, I know this, it's hilarious. I said, ha, I'm falling. I've actually got the visual in my head right now. If you've never seen a train track or train trestle, every about 6 feet or just under, like maybe 1.8 meters, there are cross pieces of wood that stick out. I'm going to say 18 inches. What is that? Half a meter ish. And every 6 feet. So I spun to my left. I was turning, if you think, well, it doesn't really matter. I was actually going towards the west, and I was on the west side of the bridge, and luckily I was over the water, but I free fell about, I want to say it was 18 feet, so 3.5 meters, something like that. No, it's not 3.5 meters anyway. And I fell on my back. My bike fell about a foot and a half to my right, and it fell on a big old patch of just poured concrete. So my head was about 18 inches from a big old thing of poured concrete. I woke up, I don't know how long I was out, and I broke a small piece of bone on my right foot. My 10 speeds, the handlebar that landed on the cement was, it was bent in a full 90 degrees. So I got a cast. I broke the cast off early. There are other stories from that happened. But I bring this up because this adjustment right here to this pose opened up my back where I fell. And I just had never really thought about it because it's like, I broke a piece of bone off my foot. Well, I also probably just sort of locked up my back, and it got me to be able to engage my pelvic floor. So it's not how it looks, it's how it feels. It's where it feels. That's what's important. I did this pose for 2 years, at least 100 times over 2 years, 5 minutes at a time, 500 minutes. And then in 15 minutes of doing it with this adjustment, I unlocked my back. And that's because it was doing something, but the way I was doing it, I was targeting the back of my legs. I'm falling off here. And so, ooh, I lost it there. And so I still got a good stretch, but it was just the back of my legs, which is a different pose. That's generally short dog. Oh, wow, the arches of my feet are starting to pull up. I've got my ligaments engaged. Enough. Let's see. Is that right? Yep, that's it. My right foot's connected to my left hand. I can make that connection right here, which is weird. I wouldn't have expected to be able to do that in this orientation, but I guess I've got my ligature pretty well engaged, certainly along the back of my leg. Let's relax a little bit more. There. Learning where to relax the muscles is what really helps engage deeper in the stretch. Okay. Okay, that was good. Really good. Ooh, a little frazzled. Okay, that was the third day of the first week. Now I'm going to continue on. Next one is Lightning Bolt. I don't do the lying down version. I'm interested in trying that version of Noodle. Okay, Lightning Bolt. Let's just go ahead and jump into that. This is fine right here. Knees together, feet apart, sit down, 5 minutes, and go. There we go. I'm going to start this pose with a prop. So I'm going to give myself like 30 seconds, a minute like this. There we go. Just a little bit. Yeah, that's nice. If I go into this too fast, the arch of my left foot tends to be a little angry. If you ever practice science of stretching, typically in a class you'll do transition poses between poses, just to sort of integrate and relax your body. I'm just going from pose to pose to pose. That's what I want to do tonight. Also, I just ate a bunch of food. Nice thing about this stuff is a full stomach, unless you're like on your stomach, that can be a problem. I was having a little bit of issue with pretzel arms earlier, but you're stimulating your you're stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system. You're calming yourself down. Well, that's relax and digest. So, res, so that's it's actually compatible with having a big meal. Again, if you're on your stomach and you've got a big meal, that's still not going to be comfortable. So my ankles are getting all kinds of dorsiflexion. Sorry, plantar flexion right here. Plantar flexion, pointing. This is great for a great ankle stretch. Also, it's a great hamstring stretch. You might feel it right here. For me, I feel it on my knees. There we go. I don't, ooh, a little bit. I'm gonna keep that there so I don't lean back. So here's the thing. Again, it's how it feels, not how it looks. I'm getting a great stretch here. Right now, I wouldn't even want to go back because my bum is kind of on the ground, but If your bum comes off the ground as you go back, don't go back. You're going to torque your back. Just don't do it. Again, my ego wants me to go back. Well, sometimes my ego doesn't. No, well, actually, a lot of times my ego is trying to stop me from doing something that is discomforting. I'm feeling a lot of sort of stretching and straining along my body, and normally in a situation like this, I'd be worried about it, but I'm used to it. So that's what the practice does. The practice gets you used to it. It's sort of like cold immersion. You can get used to it, and then it becomes just another way that you have of turning down your autonomic system and your fight and flight response. You're giving yourself spaciousness through physicality, and that appeals to me. One of my responses to stress is to go into my body. That's why I started Taekwondo. That's why I got into yoga, did a little bit of ballroom dance. Indoor rock climbing was a bit of a side thing. And then Tai Chi, and other internal martial arts, and back to yoga and Tai Chi. They're all Qigong. This is all energy work. Okay, I'm going to go do some Tai Chi stuff. Fontanelle up. That's it. Just pushing my fontanelle up a little bit. I'm engaging my second bow as much as I can without tucking my tailbone, because right now to tuck my tailbone would require muscles. And if I'm doing muscles, that's yang. I'm trying to be as yin as I can. Okay, I'm gonna push with my fingers. Oh, right there, that's enough. My knees really need to come out of this slowly. It really feels great afterwards. My knees generally feel really good. I guess I kind of think of this as I'm taking a little bit of discomfort now so that during the day my knees don't bother me. Now, I am going to kick my knees back one at a time. Oh, to straighten them out. Mm. Okay. Okay. Now, next one is noodle. Okay. Noodle, I normally doing this as well. I'm going to try this version of noodle I've never tried before. So for noodle, the idea is you get a block around what would be your bikini line if you have a bikini, and you're taking and getting an arch. So I'm going to try that. And the way I'm going to do this is 2 blocks. And I, I think actually for this one, the mistake I made last time was I did not have a pillow on the block, and I paid for that. I think that'll make a difference on that block. And then this is for the head. Okay, cool. I think that's good enough. I'll be able to get into this. Okay. So now, that's pretty good. This is a mild version of noodle, but let's see. Okay. The problem I have is my neck. Okay, so whiplash at 22 screwed up my C4. it's misshapen, it's worn down on the backside. So if my head falls forward or backward, it actually can hurt quite a bit. But this is way too much. This is okay. Yeah, that's better. Prefer the stretch using the stool, but the problem with it just kills my neck. What I'm going to do, I'm going to adjust. Pause you for a second. Normally I wouldn't want to go in and out, but I'm going to raise this up a bit. Right this way. No, I don't think that's going to be good. Before I actually start timing, let me see if I can get in, even get into this. Let's see. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's going to work pretty well. Come back a little bit. Okay, since I was in about almost 2 minutes, I'll just after the minute go under the floor. Okay. Now I'm going to need this. Okay. I'm a little asymmetrical. That's really important on these long poses. Also, I don't like this. Let's see. What if I do this? Oh yeah, there we go. Pardon me. This actually is a supporting pose for a back bend. Because if you can get a little loosening up of the upper spine, you can take the weight out of your lower back. You can press with your feet and arch more with your thoracic and even cervical spine. And so notice I'm not actually going to do a back bend, but in fact, I might, man. Maybe I'll come out of this as a back bend. That's what that is. Now, I'm going to do something because I'm a bit of a stickler for symmetry. I'm not going to do this pose twice. I'm going to come out a little bit and switch my legs. I don't know if I've switched it equally, but that way I'm not doing something too asymmetrically. That's probably one unnecessary, but now I'm screwed up. So definitely not worth it. Outcome bias, I guess. Let's see if I can get back down to here. I think I can work with that. If I had a pillow under my knees, right now I'm almost putting my knees into hyperextension. I really don't want to do that. What about? I'll take this as a learning pose as opposed to a practice pose, I suppose. I'm just having to hold too much there, so let's see. Okay, that's good. Neck a little bit. Okay, it wasn't too bad. Still, my neck's a little bit torqued, but I can live with it. Tell you what, though, my resting tension in my shoulders right now is about 0. So this really relaxes my shoulders quite a bit. Okay. Ooh, that's a bit rough on the rib cage. Okay, let's see what's next. All right, yeah, shoulder pow. Okay, I'm saying okay a lot. Shoulder pow is nip. So I'm remembering the times from the classic version of the form. You use shoulder pow 3 minutes. So it doesn't matter how you sit. I've already done enough to my knees already, so let's go ahead and sit like this. And I'm going to turn my back to you so you can see what I'm trying to do. But the idea is one hand goes around, yeah, one hand goes under, and the other hand goes up. And so let's see. Got a strap here. Go ahead and start this. The upper elbow is pointing up. So I've got my right armpit in extension, my right elbow in flexion. I've got my left shoulder in hyperextension, and I've got my left elbow in flexion. Sometimes I can get my hands to grip, not tonight. And it makes it easier to hold, but that's fine. Again, I could definitely feel this. In fact, just above between these fingers, I'm feeling like I'm doing thoracic spine extension. So I'm actually elongating my spine quite a bit, which for Tai Chi people, second bow. So I can push my fontanelle up and then push my head back a little bit, maybe keeping my chin tucked. That opens my chest up just a little bit, but it also intensifies the stretch in the shoulders and the elbows and such. I can't remember which is my renegade side. I think the other side is worse, but we'll find out. Okay. Ooh. Okay, other side. I'm sitting very flat here. So now let's see. I got my shoulder in extension and my armpit in extension. My elbow on my left shoulder in extension. My left elbow in flexion. I've got my right shoulder in hyperextension and my right elbow in flexion. Since it's an asymmetrical pose, I'm doing it twice. Let's say you're especially tight on one side and you notice that. Add a minute to that side. It's okay. That's the one thing that asymmetrical poses can do, get us back to balance. If for example, if you do an asymmetrical sport like a racket sport, golf, anything like that, really, no reason not to do it. If you love doing it, keep doing it. You might, though, find you're going to say one side is definitely tighter than the other because it's got more muscle development. And so stretch that side a little longer. If you do a 3-minute pose on one side, do a 4-minute pose on the other. You're never going to get balanced. We're never going to be balanced, but balance is more of a destination, or maybe it's a journey. We're always trying to get to balance. We'll never get there. True balance in Tai Chi is known as Wu Qi, the lack of separation between yin and yang, between in and out, between heaven and earth, between hot and cold, between strength training and deep flexibility training. Between the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is my renegade side, but I'm not going to do it longer. It's not that renegade. Oh, this is going to be a bit torturous to get out of. I can feel it. This is my right side's getting a good beating right now. Okay. I don't want to let go of this side too fast. Okay. Slow. Ooh. Okay, that's good. Okay, next day, reverse dog, twister, pins and needles. Okay, well, let's do reverse dog, and that's normally a 3-minute one. Okay. Now, reverse dog, I don't normally go up into dog. I just do the hands part, but we'll see what happens today. So 3 minutes. Already on 3 minutes. On all fours, rotate externally or laterally. Rotate. Okay, now this is a good place for a lot of people. This is a highly leveraged pose. So a couple things about this. Since it's so specific, it's so leveraged. You can imagine this is really intense. In fact, my right arm is too. Actually, I'm going to move my there. That's better. Yeah. So highly leveraged. So this a pose like this you don't need to do as long because you get all the bang for the buck pretty quickly. So if you want to intensify this, come back a little bit. Okay. Or maybe I come my knees forward and I set my butt down. Ah, there we go. I can rest on my shoulders, and now I've got the entire back of my arm engaged, and my wrists are having having a conversation with me right now. So I'm getting a really good stretch here. I mean, I could probably go up into a little bit of a down dog or maybe a plank, but all that I'm going to do is I'm going to just fight myself because it'd be too much. And if you go much above a 7 out of 10, whatever that means for you, then you're sending your body mixed signals. Because on the one hand, you're really overdoing it, and on the other hand, you're trying to relax. So you're confusing yourself. Better to stay at a 7 and just relax into it. Also, the it would be the outside of my right wrist has, for a long time actually, I'm not sure what it is, maybe some nerve issue. It kind of stings a little bit, and so it hurts in certain positions, and it's a bit of a burning sensation. Not, I mean, it's not bad, but it's there. So I assume it's some kind of nerve thing. I'm gonna go back a little bit. I am gonna go up a little bit because actually, let's see. Here we go. That's fine. Okay, now, man, right there, I'm releasing a lot of pressure. I got. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, it's a bit sore, but that's not too bad. Okay, now let's see. I love Twister. All right, Twister is a hip opener, and also it's going to get your QL back here. And so that's since it's a big muscle group and a tight muscle group, that's typically a 5 minute pose for me. Again, start at 2 minutes or get to 2 minutes, meet or beat your time. But once you get to 5 minutes, it's better to mix it up because beyond 5 minutes, you're past the Pedro rule. You're past the 80-20%. You got your 80%. So twister, I'm gonna be on my back, supine. Start the right side. I'm gonna twist my right leg, lift up over. I'm gonna maybe even get it twisted under and then twist to the side. So start. Oh, there's a nice pop. And then just melt into it. I'm gonna go ahead and look a little bit to the arm that's in a T. This is, it took me 6 months, I think, to go from kind of leaning over to pretty much leaning over like this. I'm pretty deep right now, but it doesn't feel like anything other than just a slight amount of tension. But
When I come back, I've got to come back really slow. But I'm not going to come back for several minutes. I don't have to worry about it. Since this is an asymmetrical pose, again, if you're tighter on one side, maybe do 4 minutes on one side and 5 on the tight side. But on this pose, I found that asymmetries tend to get fixed fairly quickly once you get your knee past 45 degrees, which will happen. Just relax. If you need to use a pillow or a table to support your knee in the beginning, it's great. You're talking to myself because no one's going to be watching the video at this point. And this is the secret. Are you are you worth the personal investment in your own well-being? It doesn't have to be this, it could be anything. What's your thing? This is one of my things. My IT band loves this right now. My right armpit was actually feeling pretty stretched, but now it's kind of like, I'm okay. Actually, if anything, wait, which foot is that? That's my right foot. My right ankle on the, I guess the outside, it's kind of hard to figure where I'm at because I'm twisted. It's talking to me a little bit. I want your lower back to feel supple. Start doing this today. Start 2 minutes aside, then 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Again, if you need to use a support, that's cool. But one thing, when you come out of this, come out real slow. Okay, the timer's off. Okay, it's gonna be a bit before I can get to the timer. Gotta come out really slow. Yikes. Oh boy. I'm not gonna use my leg to do that. I'm gonna actually use my hands to lift my leg. So this is all destabilizing stuff. I'm not gonna go do anything at all aggressive after this. Well, I'm not. I'm gonna go to bed. Okay. Oh boy. That feels wonderful. My entire right side is just tingling from here, and there's nothing back here. And the resting tension is just nothing right now. This side feels thinner. All right. Well, let's do that again. Left leg over right.
That'll work. I want to get my hip in a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that's nice. That's much better. Looking over to your other hand is perfectly okay. It's so then I've got my entire spine twisted from the all the way from the tailbone all the way up. This is in a very real sense meditation for your muscles, and here's what I mean by that. Your brain is a complex system. It has several nodes in it that interact in certain patterns. And so when I say it's a complex system, I mean that it's a system that is relatively unpredictable. It's possibly respondent to small changes in inputs. Certainly chaos theory applies to it, but more importantly, it has patterns of interaction that are either reinforced or not reinforced. So if you were to look at a person who has let their muscles sort of go over time in sedentary life, the collagen light is just randomly scattered, sort of like your brain. When you start to meditate, you find that you're able to stay on focus and concentrate more. So meditation is cardio for you, like cardio for your heart. Deep flexibility is like cardio for your cartilage. Over time, your cartilage starts to form more of a mesh. Sarcomeres release, things align, you start to build more sarcomeres through a combination of yin and yang. Yin on the stretch to express them, yang on the strength to build them through sarcomerogenesis, or however the heck you say that. Okay, I'm doing too much of my neck, then I'm going to bring it back. So, over time, as you stretch your muscles and elongate them, you're tuning. This is the same thing with musical instruments. My buddy Wyatt, who's a professional celloist, can tell you, and this is you probably experience this. If you play a wood instrument in tune, over time its sound tends to improve. If you play it out of tune over time, it tends to get quieter. Why is that? When you play with resonant frequencies, the cell structures are going to align with the physical waves. And over time, you literally change the internal cell structure of the cello, your muscles, your mind, your body. It's all same. You set your intention. I'm worthy of being better. I'm worthy of having a body that works. And then just relax into it, release. Wet noodle. As of time under pressure. Resistance, excuse me. Breathe to relax. Okay, now come out slowly. Sarcomere-genesis. Is that how you say it? Maybe. Okay. Now, I just did 3 days from that week. I don't know if I'm going to do any more, but let's see what the next day is. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I've got one more to do. So I've got pins and needles. All right, pins and needles. Oh, I like that one. I might do the next two. Let's see. Yeah, maybe. Pins and needles is a painful pose. When I showed it to a friend of mine, her first response was, "Brett, what the hell have I ever done to you to deserve this? Because it's a painful pose." I normally do it against the wall, but I think I can get away with this. All right, this is gonna work. Is this gonna work? No, it's not gonna work. Okay, I need a wall because my knees tend to slide forward, and what happens is the shins it just stretches the shins too much. Yeah, I think that'll work. That should be, yeah, it doesn't, I don't do that. Okay, so pins and needles. I'm going to be on my toes, so my ankles are in deep dorsiflexion, and my toes are in complete extension. So this is stretching the toes. I'm doing this right now. Actually, I kind of like doing that part. All right, and then I'm going to put our hands behind the back. Now, this is 5 minutes like that, boy. This is not one of my favorite poses. It is a good pose. Snake my arms up, snake my arms up. Though, given what I've done tonight, this may not be so bad. The arms aren't the problem, actually. It's always the knees sliding forward. Okay, almost. All right, got it. Now, there's a problem with how I'm not going to have to move a little bit. So, my big toes are just too close together, and over time, they start to press against each other and it actually hurts, believe it or not. I still think they're too close. Yeah, let's see how it goes. I think that'll be okay. Okay, I just pushed up my fontanelle. By doing that, I pulled my chin back. So second bow again, Tai Chi folk. If I really, I don't want to engage. So the thing is, I don't want to engage. I want to wet noodle. I want to relax as much as possible. But a lot of times I will extend my fontanelle so that my back isn't arching quite as much because the arch in the back can hurt depending on where you're at in the pose. Good way to fix that. Lift your bum, get a brick or something and put your forehead on it so that you remove some of the tension in the arch on your back, especially if it's hitting the lower back. You don't want to jack the lower back. Your hinges L4 and L5. That's where a lot of people have trouble. So that's why you want to get everything out of there, like on a bridge pose. So right now, I'm having one of the biggest challenges I have to doing these poses. I feign boredom to think, what's the next pose and what am I going to be doing next? Because I don't want to be here. Any of you who meditate, you understand what that is. It's a thought. It's aversion. It's aversion to what is, or I'm, you know, I'm trying to reject what is, and it's just an experience. Uh, you know, I'm in some good amount of discomfort here, but it's manageable. It's familiar. Just don't like to do it sometimes. This is one I just don't like to do. So my body's trying to get me out of it. How by, you know what? So I've gotten past the worst part. My shins have moved a little forward a little bit, but not on my knees, but not too much. It's really starting to get intense in my shins, but I'm under 10 seconds, so I'm going to go ahead and be okay with this one. Okay. Oof. My elbows are kind of in a little bit of pain there. Okay, now I got to come out of the toes really slow. Okay. Yikes. Oof. Okay. That's a lot. What is tomorrow? Let's see. I'll do that. Do that. Yeah, why not? Okay. So I'm going to go into uh, elevated single leg stretch. Now, I've actually done this one before, and how do I want to do this? I want to be on, that might be slippery enough. Okay, got it. So I'm going to do this. I need a pad on here. I want my knee to be able to slide back so that I can intensify the pose on what will be my hamstrings. So, there's this slide. Nice. Do the right leg first, so I'll put this on the left knee. I'm going to assume this one is a 5-minute one. Yeah, it must be 5 minutes because it's a hamstring pose. So since the hamstring is a big muscle, it takes a lot of time to get into it. Now, I'm going to do this asymmetrical, so that's a Is that enough padding? We'll try that. Okay, let's see. Now I need the knees to be further back. Oh, that's right there. That's nice. Not intense, but that's a really good stretch. Honestly, I don't even need any more than that. For 5 minutes, this will be great. I'm going to get more than this, in fact. Let's see. Get under there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now this is effectively a modified version of Blaster. So my quads are getting stretched to my left very nicely, actually. Not great, but very nicely. And my hamstrings on my right are all nicely stretching. Now let's see if I can hold on to this while my foot slides. Okay, that's a little bit deeper. Nice. This is a nice version of this pose. It's nice and easy to hold. Okay, that moves it forward, but I don't want to slide that forward. So let me do that. Yeah, that's better. So when you do this kind of pose on the back knee, or my back leg, my left leg, the knee is taking a lot of pressure, but my kneecap is protected. I'm straight down, or I mean, I'm not straight down, but I'm not in any position, any worry of sliding my kneecap or anything like that. So the pressure is all over as opposed to stabby, pointy, or behind the knee or on a joint. So if you ever feel stabby pain, if you can point to it as opposed to this area hurts, you want to back off. You don't want to do damage to yourself. So this is a compounded complex pose. Complex, it involves 6 or more muscles. I mean, there's the 3 hamstrings, 3 plus 1. You've got 3 tendons coming off of the hip bone, goes down to the knee, and one of them splits into 2 muscle bodies. So 3 plus 1, or the 2 sisters, whatever you call it. And then it's got on the other side, on the left leg, I've got my hamstrings nicely stretched. And so there's a lot of stretch going on, but it's also compound in that I've got 2 different body parts stretching, and I've got 2 entirely different stretches. So I've got I've got extension of my right leg, which engages the hamstrings, which makes them go stretchy stretch. I'm going to go further. Okay, so now this has moved up into my hip. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm going to stop right there. I don't want to go any further. I just got to, actually, okay, I just felt the sarcomere saying no, no, no. I had this minor wave of warning compression. Like it's almost like it's not a Charlie horse exactly, but you get this pulse deep in the muscle, and it's like, no, I don't think I want to do that. So it's like, okay, I respect that because I got more than enough stretch going on right here. I would say my hamstrings on my left leg are kind of on fire, but it's a good fire. It's the kind of fire that's warming. But I actually do think I'm a little too deep in this pose. Actually, I need to come out just a touch. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. I don't do this version of the pose very often. And of course, when you change the pose up like this, you stretch it a little bit differently. And so this actually, this is doing a whole bunch right now. This is so good. This might take me a bit to get out of this. Also, this is preparation for the front splits. I'm nowhere near being able to do front splits or side splits. It's going to take a lot longer than I had hoped, but that's fine. Okay, timer's up. Let's see, how can I get out of this? So the problem is I really can't put weight on my back leg very much. There we go. I can do that. Okay. Well, I didn't slide so much as I thought I was going to in the back leg. Yeah, so that left leg is really having a conversation with me. But let's see. So a little intense. But the thing to look for is uh, the sensation is gone. So I mean, I can tell it was there, but it's like if you get tingles, that's probably okay. If they disappear within 30 seconds, which these definitely did, then you didn't go too far. Okay, 5 minutes. Next side. Here we go. Okay. There we go. So right now I'm trying to compare this to the last pose, but recency bias. Uh, the end of the pose was much more intense than the beginning. Then I'm starting to get the feel. This is nice. So I'm violating wet noodle right now. My arms are not wet noodle, but they're locked out, and so by doing that, I'm engaging my skeletal structure. So they're not gonna start to shake, and so I'm less likely to send mixed signals to my nervous system. The longer you are work on a session, generally, the easier it is for each pose to get back in and get back in and get back in. That's too much right there, way too much. So right there, I'm pulling too tight near my hip, the top of my hip. Yeah, that's better. You really need to feel and listen to your body. So now you're working on your sense of interoception. So I'm going to lean forward, and that should put the pressure, take it a little bit off my back leg and move it onto my front, and I'll get more in the hamstrings. That's feeling pretty good. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, too much. Okay, now I've got it sort of hanging. I've managed to sort of, yeah, my left rib is kind of touching my left thigh, and I'm able to relax the hip socket. And by doing that, the leg is bending back a little bit more, and now I feel all of my hamstrings. Ooh, that's a little too much right there, pulling. And now I just feel okay. I just felt relaxing. So the more you do this, the more you'll notice like it's like if you've ever had some fabric that's not frayed, you pull it and it stretches, stretches, stretches. It's kind of like that. You can start to notice that, and I just noticed a nice little relax there, just by millimeters or maybe centimeters, but more like millimeters to target this stretch. Okay, now I'm relaxing even more. That's going to be too much. Okay, that is too much. Too much, too much, too much. I haven't got very long, so I think it's okay for me to do with this my arms for the last few seconds. I think that's too much. It's starting to come out. Okay, one more, and then I'm going to be done. And I'm be done with the first day of week 2. Ooh. Okay, so now I'm going to do a pose called pancake. Don't know why it's called pancake, but that's what they're calling it. For this, I will use this. That'll help my feet keep in the back. I'm going to elevate my rear, and I'm probably, where is the second one of these? Or have I hidden it? Well, I'll just do it without. I'd rather have symmetrical poses. This is a 5-minute pose. This is a hip opener. Let's see where I'm at today. Okay, I'll be a little bit further than that. Oh, that's enough. Now, I'm not going to get forward if I do this, so this is where I'm going to elevate my butt. Not going to get that there. Wedge, push me forward a little bit. This isn't much, but I think it'll be sufficient. There we go. Now, I'm going to do a blockhead version of this. It's going to take me several minutes to get very far forward. Okay, right there. That's feeling it right here. That's, I don't want that, so I need to adjust a little bit. Maybe come back a little bit. Bend my knees a little bit. This isn't right. This isn't going to work. Yes, that'll work. Okay, one more time. Yeah, that's going to be better. Yeah, there. See, now I don't have to hold it. It's just happening. That's why I want to do that. Worth the reset. This is already a far better pose. I could just stay here and it would be better than probably how it would have been before. So my adductors, the adductors, the ones that bring your legs to the center, they add to your middle. That's where I'm getting the stretch right now. I would like to get down to my elbows, and I will shortly, but not for a few minutes. Okay, now I'm mostly off the blocks, or sorry, off the pillow behind my bum, but I'm in a good position here. So I'm giving my head some support so I won't feel it in my lower back. I'm getting a really nice stretch in both adductors. I can deepen it, and I will eventually, but I'm going to stay here for a little bit, and then I'll lower the blocks a little bit. My head really doesn't need support right now. So I'm pushing my head straight out a little bit, and that's lowering me down nicely. Okay, so now I'm feeling the arch of my left foot pull in a little bit, so my ligaments are having something to do. I don't want to pull the ligaments, so it may not be actually me pulling the ligaments, but I'd rather be careful. Just trying to get the muscles, the muscle bellies mostly. No problem arching your back here. Again, the reason I don't is mostly it hurts my neck. I can do a little like this is fine probably. Okay, that's too far. Oops. I just reset my clock. Let's see. I probably had a minute, maybe two. I think I had a minute left, but I want to do another minute because this is feeling really good right now. Here, let's do that. No, that's not stable. There we go. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, I've got my hamstrings involved now more than my adductors. Are actually about equal to my adductors. That's too much. That's too much. Ooh, pushing up a little bit. Okay. I'm a bit frazzled. It's going to take me a second to get my legs in. Maybe if I do this. That's good. I like jackknife laughter. I want to do that now. I'm already at an hour and a half. I think I should be done. That was a good day. Well, just a quick recap. What did I do? We started with, I started with day one, week one, day three. Cliffhanger. I tried the alternate one. It was okay. Pretzel arms, wide dog. Ended up still needing the stool. Lightning bolt, noodle. Shoulder power. I like the version of noodle. Reverse dog, twister. Pins and needles, and then elevated single leg stretch and pancake. The next two, one's called Swiss Army knife, but it's actually jackknife blaster. No, it's not. It's like jackknife blaster with a twist. Okay, I don't know that one. Okay, well, I'll figure that one out. Anyway, having a good time. Hope you enjoyed watching. No one's gonna watch this, I know that. But by recording it, I worked out longer than I would have otherwise. Goodbye.